Leo, radiant one of the zodiac, this message is for you. There's a powerful truth you need to hear. Your greatest financial blessing is no longer a distant dream. It's here. Now. And whether you realize it or not, the universe is already placing it within reach. This video was created for one sacred purpose: to guide you in opening that door and preparing your energy to receive what is rightfully yours. From July 17th to 20th, the stars are aligning in a way that only happens once in a very long while. You are being invited to step through what astrologers call a golden portal, a cosmic window of abundance specifically coded for your sign. This isn't just a good week. This is a defining moment. An activation of destiny. So let me ask you, what brought you here today? Was it a whisper from your intuition, a sudden curiosity, a late-night scroll that somehow stopped on this exact title? However you arrived, it wasn't by chance. You are here because your soul is ready to expand. This week, the alignment of the Moon, Venus, Jupiter, Uranus, and Saturn creates a unique financial vibration in your birth chart. It's a blend of magnetic attraction, divine timing, and long-term security. You are being handed the energetic blueprint for abundance, but only if you are willing to claim it. Imagine for a moment that a sacred bag has been placed before you, not a literal one, but a symbol. A container for success. A vessel for the wealth, recognition, and opportunity that your light was born to hold. All that's missing is your willingness to open it. And that's what we're going to do together in this video. We'll uncover the hidden signs the universe is sending your way. We'll activate rituals, colors, numbers, and mindset shifts that are all aligned with your personal frequency. And we'll explore the soul-level reasons why this financial shift is coming to you now, not later, not someday, but in this exact season of your life. Because Leo, you were never meant to play small. You are not here to wait for permission. You are here to lead with heart, with fire, with undeniable brilliance. And this week, the universe is showing you just how ready it is to support you if you step forward. Before we begin, let me take a moment to say thank you. Truly. Your presence here means more than you know. Every like, every comment, every moment you spend connecting with these messages adds light to this shared journey. Your support fuels this sacred space and allows us to continue delivering powerful insights that transform lives. If you feel a resonance, if something inside you is stirring already, take a second to ground your intention in the comments below. Simply say, "I'm ready to receive what's mine." Your words are more than affirmation, they are activation. So take a deep breath. Stay with me until the end. Because what the universe is about to reveal will not only surprise you, it will empower you. Let's open that bag together. There are moments when the sky doesn't just shine, it speaks. And this week, dear Leo, from July 17th to 20th, the sky is speaking directly to you. You may already feel the shift in the air, the subtle pull in your chest, or the strange clarity in your thoughts. This is not imagination. It's alignment. A rare and exquisite sequence of astrological events is creating what many call a golden portal, an energetic corridor through which your intentions, actions, and desires can move faster and manifest clearer. But more importantly, this alignment isn't something external passing by. It's something coded deep within you. And right now, the key is turning. Let's begin with July 17th. When the moon forms a harmonious trine with Venus, it is like your inner magnet for abundance and grace becomes brighter, smoother, more fluid. Venus is not merely about beauty and love, it governs your ability to receive, to attract, to open your hands and allow prosperity to land without grasping. The moon, in this dance, gently softens your emotional body, making you more receptive to support, guidance, and yes, material opportunities. If you've been feeling resistant or unsure of your worth, this moment is a balm. It tells you without force that you are already worthy of all you're seeking. Then comes July 18th, a truly radiant day. The Sun, your ruling force as a Leo, forms a sextile with Jupiter, the cosmic expander. This is the moment when effort meets ease. It is a window where your courageous action can ripple far beyond what you expect. If there's a door you've been afraid to knock on, an idea you've kept tucked away, or a vision that's felt too big, now is the time to bring it into the light. Jupiter doesn't just say yes, it says yes and more. But only to those who step forward. Much like the ancient wisdom of tending your own garden, when you care for your inner soil, the rain will know exactly where to fall. July 19th, Uranus reaches out to the moon, a surprising handshake that could feel like a disruption or a spark, depending on how you meet it. Uranus never arrives quietly. It awakens. It rattles the branches so fruit can fall. This might look like a conversation with someone you didn't expect, a random opportunity, or even a mental breakthrough about how you've been holding yourself back. The important thing is not to analyze the moment, but to move with it. Think of it as the wind knocking gently at your window, not to startle you, but to remind you that there is something new waiting outside your routine. And on July 20th, we land back on solid ground with the moon trine Saturn. This is a quiet, grounded blessing. It brings structure to what was once only a dream. Like a mason laying the first brick of a home, this transit encourages you to build, not just wish. It may feel slower than the days before, but its power is in the stillness. In many ancient teachings, discipline is not seen as restriction, but as devotion. To give your goal a form. To give your gift a container. All of these celestial events work together to activate 4 essential houses in your chart: your 2nd house of money and self-worth, your 10th house of career and visibility, your 11th house of community and impact, and your 6th house of daily effort and tangible practice. This is a rare activation of both the vision and the vessel. What you dream of and what you do are coming into alignment. The universe may open the vault, but you, Leo, are the combination. So if you've been waiting to launch, to invest, to present, to share, this is not a week to wait. This is the week to walk through the gate that's been quietly opening just for you. ChatGPT.noi. When we speak of preparing a $1 million bag, we are not referring to a physical object filled with currency or material wealth. We're speaking to something far more subtle and powerful, an energetic vessel that exists within your awareness, shaped by intention, readiness, and belief. The ritual of creating this symbolic container is not superstition. It is precision. It is a gentle, deliberate invitation to your own subconscious mind, aligning your inner landscape with the flow of outer opportunities. In the days unfolding, you're not being asked to chase abundance, you're being asked to hold space for it. And in the simplest terms, this means crafting a ritual, a gesture, a reminder that signals to your entire being, I am available. I am open. I am ready. That's why choosing a vessel, whether it's a fine leather wallet, a treasured wooden box, or a small safe tucked carefully in a corner, becomes more than a task. It becomes a message. When you write your affirmation and place it within this container, "I am ready to receive the wealth, success, and opportunities the universe is sending to me," you are not only creating words. You are directing energy. You are anchoring thought into form. And according to the laws of energetic alignment, what is held with reverence and clarity in the unseen world eventually finds its reflection in the visible one. This is not about hoarding, or about demanding more. It is about presence, stillness, receptivity. In the same way that the earth must be tilled before it can yield a harvest, your inner field must be softened and opened before abundance can take root. Without this conscious preparation, even the most fertile opportunities can go unnoticed. But with it, something remarkable happens. You begin to see money, value, and prosperity not as things you chase, but as natural extensions of who you are becoming. Color carries frequency, and frequency is language. That's why we bring in gold, ruby red, and platinum white into this practice, not as decoration, but as reminders. Gold speaks to divine wealth and illuminated authority. Ruby red stirs boldness, vitality, and life force confidence. White platinum purifies and lifts, enhancing clarity and intuitive receptivity. Surrounding your vessel with these hues, or simply imagining them glowing from within, supports the mind in forming associations that strengthen belief and emotional alignment. Numbers, too, are not arbitrary. They carry resonance and memory. The number 1 whispers of beginning, soft, being first, initiating, stepping into identity. The number 17 is often seen as a symbol of spiritual wealth, where effort meets divine timing. The number 20 hints at reflection, balance, and renewal. And the sequence 888 is one of the most potent symbols of ongoing, regenerating prosperity. It is the infinity loop multiplied, endless flow, movement without loss, return without depletion. When you recognize these numbers appearing around you, you're not simply noticing coincidence. You're witnessing alignment in motion. Placing your symbolic bag in a place you see daily is more than visual encouragement, it is energetic programming. Just as a candle on a shrine reminds the heart of devotion, your bag reminds your nervous system to stay in a state of readiness. Quietly, consistently, it keeps your awareness tuned toward receiving. It helps you remain connected not just to wealth as a concept, but to the qualities that magnetize it: gratitude, calm confidence, trust in timing, and faith in your own worthiness. This ritual is not a command to the universe. It is a conversation with yourself. A way of saying, again and again, "Yes, I am available to meet life, as it wishes to meet me." And it's in this quiet readiness that miracles, money, and meaning begin to find their way home. Sometimes, what seems like coincidence is simply clarity dressed in subtlety. After preparing your inner space to receive abundance, after declaring your readiness and setting your symbolic vessel in motion, the next step is not to force, but to notice. This is the art of witnessing, of becoming sensitive to the language of alignment. It is not loud. It does not announce itself with certainty. It comes gently, often unexpectedly, in the form of an email you weren't planning to read, a message from someone you thought was long gone, or a passing thought that feels strangely electric. These are not just moments. They are invitations. threads of meaning weaving their way through the fabric of your day. When an idea lands suddenly while you're journaling, walking, or sitting in silence, pay attention, not because you must act immediately, but because something within you is reaching out to touch a different version of your life. These bursts of clarity aren't random theory, the result of space being made in your mind. When you've cleared out the noise of doubt and distraction, these signals have room to arrive. And they will often come dressed in the ordinary. A conversation overheard, a number that repeats, a moment of déjà vu. To most, they pass unnoticed. But when you're attuned, you see them for what they are, bridges between what is and what could be. There is a teaching that says the water only reflects the moon when it is still. In much the same way, your ability to recognize meaningful signs depends not on effort, but on presence. When your mind is turbulent or rushing ahead, even the most direct guidance can seem invisible. But when you slow down, breathe, and allow yourself to observe without agenda, the signs begin to emerge. You begin to hear what has always been whispering underneath the noise. These signs often appear when your energy is in motion, when you've done the work of planting, preparing, or even letting go. That moment when you release an expectation is often the exact moment the answer arrives. Like a flower blooming only when it stops resisting the soil. This is why trust plays such a central role in magnetizing opportunity. Not blind faith, but a calm willingness to receive on life's timing, not your own. And this is where emotional clarity becomes essential. If something excites you deeply, stirs your imagination, or creates a sense of natural momentum, you don't need to overanalyze it. That feeling is the signal. It is your system recognizing resonance before your intellect can explain why. The tarot images that accompany this phase mirror the energy perfectly. The sun represents not just success, but joy that comes from alignment. Its radiance is a result of nothing being hidden. It calls you to step into visibility, to stop shrinking, to allow the world to see you in your full glow. The King of Pentacles anchors that joy with stability, does not chase wealth, he embodies it. He knows that true security is not built on constant striving but on confidence in one's value. And the Ace of Wands speaks to ignition, the first spark that turns into a fire, the idea that becomes action, the impulse that leads to creation. Together, these signs and symbols remind you, what you are seeking is also seeking you. But it may arrive in disguise. Your role is not to chase it down but to become the version of yourself who notices, who receives, who says yes. This is why mindfulness is not passive. It is an active, courageous attention. To witness the signs around you is to become a conscious participant in your own unfolding story. And that story, dear Leo, is about to get very, very interesting. Abundance doesn't fall from the sky in grand, dramatic gestures. It begins in small, almost invisible movements, the quiet choices you make behind closed doors, the way you respond to a lingering thought, the attention you give to what you once ignored. After receiving the signs, after tuning into the subtle invitations of the universe, there comes a moment when stillness must meet motion. This is the part of the journey where magic and matter merge. Where insight transforms into impact. Taking practical action is not about forcing outcomes. It's about aligning your outer life with your inner readiness. When you clear financial clutter, old debts, forgotten subscriptions, unfinished business, you're not just tidying your physical world. You're signaling to life itself, I am no longer bound by what was. I am prepared for what's next. Think of every overdue task as a stone blocking the stream. Each one you remove allows more flow, more clarity, more ease. Completion is not a chore, it's a liberation. And as you turn your attention toward reconnecting with others, consider this: relationships, too, are channels through which abundance moves. A simple message to a mentor you haven't spoken to in years, a warm follow-up with someone who once supported you. These small openings can lead to breakthroughs. Energy, like water, moves through pathways. Some of those pathways are people. And sometimes, the very thing you're waiting for is already waiting for you through the voice or presence of someone you've momentarily lost touch with. Equally important is how you carry yourself in the world. Investing in your image isn't about superficiality, it's about resonance. How you dress, how you present, how you speak, these are all expressions of self-concept. If you want the world to take you seriously, you must first show that you take yourself seriously. Upgrade your online presence. Polish your professional materials. Step into environments that reflect who you are becoming, not who you've been. When your external representation rises to meet your internal vision, you become a magnet for aligned opportunities. But perhaps the most overlooked catalyst of all is the power of small, intentional action. That email you've been putting off? It could be the spark. That pitch you've hesitated to send? It could be the key. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to begin. There is a wisdom teaching that says, a single drop, again and again, can carve through stone. In the same way, your consistent, aligned steps, no matter how small, have the capacity to create breakthroughs where force never could. This is not about doing more for the sake of doing. It's about acting with presence. When you do something because it feels aligned, because your intuition stirs gently as you reach out, you amplify the energy already in motion. Think of it like adding a drop of intention to a sacred well. Over time, those drops collect. And when the moment is right, when your thoughts, actions, and environment are in harmony, the well overflows. That overflow is what we often call luck, but it's nothing random. It's the result of everything you've built, everything you've cleared, and everything you've dared to believe was possible. So don't underestimate the power of a phone call, a conversation, or a single courageous moment. Each one is part of a sequence, each one a thread being woven into the story of your financial expansion. You don't have to leap wildly into the unknown. You just have to walk, deliberately, one clear step at a time. And with each step, you don't just open the vault of prosperity, you become it. Some stories don't begin with grand declarations. They begin in silence, at the edge of hesitation, where someone chooses to act not because they feel ready, but because something deeper whispers, now. These are not legends told in books. They're quiet revolutions unfolding in real lives. And the truth is, you don't need a lightning bolt to change your trajectory. Sometimes, all it takes is the courage to follow the nudge. Take Lena, for example. She had been sitting on a business idea for months, something creative, intuitive, but a little unconventional. Every time she considered launching it, her logical mind pushed back, not yet. Not enough followers. Not enough time. But one evening, after journaling through a surge of emotion, she finally hit publish on a post about her offering. Within 48 hours, her first client found her. And what followed wasn't instant fame, but it was movement, steady and sincere. Today, she runs her own digital practice and credits that single moment the moment she stopped waiting to be ready as the most important decision of her life. Or Javier, a software engineer who nearly didn't attend a networking dinner because he felt out of place. He went anyway. And there, amid surface conversations and casual exchanges, he met someone who would later become his co-founder. Together, they built a tech platform that not only grew in value but in meaning. It serves underserved communities today. Javier often reflects that his yes didn't come from logic, it came from something softer, a quiet internal signal that said, just go. Then there's Elise, a teacher turned copywriter who took on a short freelance job with a brand she didn't know much about. It didn't seem like much at the time, just a small writing project. But her voice resonated. That client became a long-term partner, and Elise now consults for companies around the world. She didn't plan this life. She just said yes when the opportunity appeared, even though it looked too small to be significant. What do these people have in common? They didn't wait until they were certain. They didn't demand that all signs be clear before taking the first step. They simply responded to the moment that life offered them. And that's something we often forget. While we chase huge signs, life often speaks in subtle doorways, ones we're meant to walk through, not analyze. There's a quiet teaching in this. True readiness rarely feels like confidence. It feels more like surrender. It feels like trusting that the ground will appear as you step. It's the difference between watching your life unfold and choosing to be the thread that shapes it. You don't need to have it all figured out. But you do need to listen. You need to sense when it's time to move. Sometimes that movement is a phone call. Sometimes it's applying for something you're not 100% sure you'll get. Sometimes it's starting before the plan is perfect. So if you feel the pull, if you sense that something is forming on the horizon, even if you can't name it yet, let that be enough. Take one action, no matter how small. Every breakthrough story begins with a simple yes. Yours is no exception. And if, in your quiet moments, you can feel your name being written in the pages of something greater, then ask yourself this: if I were the next person to create a quiet miracle, what would my first step be? The answer, more often than not, is already inside you. If you've made it to this moment, take a breath with minute, just to pause, but to feel what's stirring quietly inside you. Because this isn't the end of the message, it's the beginning of your movement. Everything we've walked through today, from the opening of cosmic windows to the rituals of readiness, from the signs that speak in whispers to the actions that ripple far beyond their size, it all comes down to this truth: you are standing at the doorway of your next chapter. And the key? It has always been within you. You don't need to be anyone else, or wait for everything to align perfectly. The $1 million energy we speak of isn't locked in some distant vault. It's already circling your field, drawn to the clarity, courage, and commitment you choose to embody right now. The universe has placed the treasure at your doorstep. The only question that remains is, will you open the door? And maybe you're wondering, can it really be that simple? Yes, simple, not easy. Because the true work isn't in doing more, it's in believing differently. It's in trading old doubts for new decisions. It's in choosing to act from faith rather than fear, clarity rather than confusion. No one else can do this part for you. But the beautiful thing is you're not alone. Every moment you've spent here with me is proof that something inside you is already rising to meet the call. So ask yourself now, what's one small action I can take today that honors the version of me I'm becoming? What have I been delaying, not because it isn't possible, but because I haven't allowed myself to imagine it fully? And perhaps most importantly, what would change if I truly believed that abundance wasn't something to chase but something I already carry the frequency to receive? Let these questions stir in you not as pressure, but as permission. Permission to dream, to decide, to begin. You don't have to leap. Just lean in. Your path doesn't need to look like anyone else's. But it does need your presence. And that is what transforms possibility into experience. Before you go, let me thank you from the center of my heart. Thank you for your time, your presence, your trust in this sacred space we share on eternal mindfulness. Every like, every comment, every subscription is more than engagement, it's energy. It tells the universe, I'm here. I'm awake. I'm participating. And that energy? It doesn't disappear. It expands. It connects. It multiplies. Your support makes this space possible, and your light fuels the collective rising of everyone walking this path alongside you. If this message touched something real in you, if even one part of it felt like it was meant for you, then I invite you to anchor that knowing. Like this video as an act of affirmation. Share your reflections in the comments so the energy we've built here can continue moving through the collective. And subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness so you don't miss the next soul-guided transmission that the stars have in store for you. Now, one last thing before you go ahead: if you're not here to just receive the gold but to be the gold? What if the abundance ahead isn't just about wealth, but about the light you've always been meant to radiate? You don't need to wait any longer. The door is open. And your future is listening.